This isn't a story about a fight, not a physical one, anyway. It's about a moment and a decision that shattered a world built on cruelty and rebuilt it with something stronger. It began on a regular Tuesday, in a classroom that looked like any other, with a girl who tried to disappear and a boy who thought the universe revolved around him. And if you're someone who believes quiet voices can find their roar, you're in the right place, because this is a journey worth hearing. The air in Mr. Davidson's third period history class smelled of old textbooks, industrial cleaner, and the restless energy of 23 seniors counting the minutes until lunch. Dusty sunlight streamed through the tall windows, catching on the scuffed linoleum floors and the decades-old graffiti carved into desks. At the back, Jake Preston held court. He wasn't the football captain and he wasn't coordinated in OU, but he had something else: loud, brash confidence that bordered on aggression and a family name that carried weight in their small Midwestern town. His dad owned a car dealership, his uncle was the mayor, and Jake moved through school as if it all belonged to him. He sat in a corner desk he'd unofficially claimed for the semester, phone out in the open, smirking as he texted. No one challenged him, not anymore. When the classroom door creaked open, the room fell quiet, and not out of respect, but curiosity. Principal Higgins appeared, stuffed into a suit a size too small, and beside him stood a girl no one recognized. She was average height, with long, dark hair falling like silk down her back and eyes the color of espresso, steady and observant. She clutched a new binder to her chest like a shield. "This is Anya Sharma," the principal announced. "She's transferring in from New Jersey." Mr. Davidson gave her a gentle smile. "Welcome, Anna. Find a seat anywhere." Only one empty desk remained right next to Jake. It was empty for a reason. Anna felt the weight of dozens of eyes as she walked the aisle. Someone in the front row shook her head slightly, a subtle warning. Anna either didn't notice or chose to ignore it. She sat, placed her binder on the desk, and the soft scent of jasmine and sandalwood drifted toward Jake. His smirk vanished, replaced by irritation. He didn't see a person. He saw a problem. Excuse me," he said with carefully polished condescension. "You're in my seat." Anna turned to him slowly, her face unreadable. "The desks aren't assigned." Jake laughed dryly, leaning back. "Yeah, they are. This one's mine. Everyone knows that." His friends nodded on cue. "So how about you be a good little new girl and move?" Mr. Davidson paused mid-sentence. "Is there a problem, Jake?" Jake instantly switched to fake innocence. "No problem, Mr. D. Just explaining the seating chart." Then he dropped his voice again, letting the venom coat his words. "Seriously, move." Anna's heart pounded. She knew the dance of being the new kid: apologize, blend in, avoid trouble. But something in her refused. Maybe she was tired of starting over. Maybe it was the way he said "little new girl," crushing her down to nothing. She looked at her pristine binder, then back at him. "I'm fine here," she whispered. But somehow it echoed louder than any shout. Jake's face hardened. The challenge was public now. His fragile empire depended on her surrender. He slammed his chair forward and leaned across her desk. "I said move," he hissed. "You don't belong here." He didn't mean the desk. He meant her name, her skin, her existence. Before Mr. Davidson could intervene, Jake snatched her binder. To Anna, it wasn't just a binder, it was order, comfort, pieces of her life. "Give that back," she said, voice sharpening. "Or what?" Jake flipped it open and pulled out a handwritten page covered in elegant script he didn't recognize. "What's this, your secret code?" He crumpled it and tossed it on the floor. A gasp rippled through the room. Something deeper than bullying had just taken place. Jake kept going, enjoying the panic he caused. He pulled out a small family photograph of Anna and her parents and little brother smiling in front of the Statue of Liberty. "Oh, look at the happy little family," he mocked. "Took a long boat ride to get here, did you?" The racist jab landed like a blow. Students looked away, ashamed. Anna stood, small but suddenly towering. Her shock burned away, replaced by cold clarity. "Give me my photograph," she said. "Come get it." He yanked it away as she reached, tearing the corner. The tiny ripping sound was deafening. Anna didn't scream. She didn't move. She simply looked at him, then at Mr. Davidson, then at every student watching in silence. Her gaze wasn't pleading. It was judgment. "My name is Anya Sharma," she began, voice steady and sharp. My family moved here from Jersey City because my father, Dr. Rajesh Sharma, is the new chief of surgery at Northwood General. The language you just crumpled is Sanskrit, one of the oldest languages in the world. I was translating the Bhagavad Gita for a project from the #1 public high school in New Jersey. The class shifted, stunned. The photo you tore is of my family. My mother is a tenured economics professor. My little brother, who is autistic, just started 9th grade here. He's terrified of people like you. Jake blinked, thrown off script. You think this desk is yours? She continued, her voice dropping. You think this school is yours? You sit in your tiny kingdom built on your daddy's name, and you tell me I don't belong? You, who can't spell potato without autocorrect. You, who just proved the smallest thing about you is your character. Jake turned red. Shut up, he muttered, but the words were hollow. Number. I won't. Her voice finally roused. You can have the seat. You can have this whole pathetic world you've built. I don't need to fight you for a piece of wood. My world is bigger. My future is brighter. And the only thing you conquered today is the title of biggest disappointment in this room. The silence was absolute. Then the door opened. Principal Higgins stepped in, followed by a tall, severe-looking man in a tailored suit. Jake's father. He had been in the building for a meeting and had heard everything. His face was drained, not with anger, but with crushing disappointment. Jake, he said quietly. Get up. We're leaving. Jake froze, then wilted. He shuffled forward, still holding Anna's photograph. Mr. Preston looked at Anna, at her crumpled paper, and seemed to age 10 years. Young lady, a broken bar. I am so deeply sorry. Then he turned to the adults. We will discuss consequences. He left the door open behind him. A single student began clapping, then another. Soon the room filled with soft, respectful applause. Not for drama, for courage. Mr. Davidson gathered Anna's notes, smoothing the creases as best he could. He tucked the torn photo into her binder and handed it to her. Are you all right? He asked gently. She took a trembling breath and nodded. I am now. The rest of class passed like a dream. When the bell rang, no one rushed out. Students lingered, glancing her way. As she repaired her photo with clear tape, Sarah approached. That was incredible, she said shyly. I'm Sarah. Want to sit with us at lunch? For the first time that day, Anna smiled. I'd like that. The story didn't end there. Jake was suspended, but the real punishment was social. A student had recorded the incident, not for the internet, but for truth. The video never needed posting. The story spread on its own. When Jake returned, his kingdom was gone. His friends drifted away. He became a ghost. A warning whispered to younger students. Don't be a Jake. Anna thrived. She wasn't the most popular, but she was respected. She and Sarah started a cultural awareness club that became one of the most attended in the school. She tutored students in calculus and physics. Her brother found friends who understood him. The corner desk remained unclaimed. Sometimes Anna sat there, sunlight catching her hair, as someone who earned her place not by force, but by unshakable character. It became a quiet reminder that the loudest voice isn't always the strongest, and that courage often looks like standing your ground and speaking your truth. And so, a bully tried to move a girl from a desk and instead moved himself to the margins of his own world. He regretted it instantly. Stories like this make you wonder about the battles happening quietly in classrooms everywhere, and the power one voice can have to change the air in the room. The weeks after the confrontation settled into something that felt almost normal, but nothing at Northwood High was quite the same. The story of what happened in Mr. Davidson's third period history class had rewritten the unspoken rules of the school. Lines that had been blurred for years were suddenly sharp and visible. People watched their words. Teachers lingered a little longer in doorways, and Jake Preston's shadow, once stretching across entire hallways, shrank into a corner he could no longer defend. But for Anna, life didn't simply go back to normal. Her world had cracked open in ways she didn't expect. The first sign came the Monday after Jake returned from suspension. The morning announcements stuttered through the crackling speakers, and somewhere between the weather and varsity swim team updates, Principal Higgins cleared his throat. In the interest of fostering a respectful, inclusive school environment, a Broken Bar Cultural Appreciation Assembly will be held next month, organized by students. Leadership will be coordinated by. He paused, as though the universe had scripted this moment for dramatic effect. Anna Sharma and Sarah Thompson. Anna froze mid-step in the hallway. She hadn't known that part. Sarah grinned beside her. Surprise, I kind of had broken bar suggested it, and Mr. Davidson backed it. Then everyone else kind of jumped on board. Sarah, Anna whispered, I just got here. I know, Sarah said, but that's why you're the right person. The club meeting started small, just 5 people at the first gathering in the library. Anna, Sarah, a shy girl named Mia, a boy who loved graphic design, and a quiet, bookish student named Calvin who always took notes like everything mattered. By the 3rd week, they had more than 20 members. People from different backgrounds brought food, music, stories from their families. Anna found herself teaching students how to write their names in Devanagari. She laughed in a room full of people she didn't know existed a month ago. She watched her brother, Arav, wander in one afternoon, hands flapping nervously, and be greeted by a boy from his grade who knew him from art class. For the first time since moving, her brother didn't look afraid. For the first time since moving, neither did she. Jake, meanwhile, lived in a world that had shrunk to the size of his guilt. His friends didn't sit with him. His football teammates avoided eye contact. Even teachers seemed tired of him. And though no one said it aloud, everyone knew his father had been harder on him in 1 week than in 17 years. He stopped swaggering through hallways. He no longer smirked. He didn't yell. He didn't challenge. He just a broken bar existed. One afternoon, as Anna stayed after school to help Mr. Davidson sort materials for the assembly, someone knocked softly on the classroom door. Jake. He looked smaller, his shoulders slumped, backpack hanging off one strap, eyes hollow. Can I talk to you? He asked. Instinctively, Anna stiffened. Mr. Davidson glanced at her. She gave a small nod. Jake stepped inside and closed the door behind him. He didn't come closer. He didn't touch anything on the desks. He stood like someone approaching a sacred place he didn't believe he had the right to enter. I owe you an apology, he said quietly. Not practiced, not confident, just honest. Anna waited. Yeah, broken bar, don't know why I did all that, Jake continued. Or maybe I do. I was angry, jealous, stupid. But none of that excuses it. I hurt you. I hurt your family, and I embarrassed my own. He swallowed hard. I'm sorry. Anna didn't speak right away. She studied Hema, really studied Hema, not the caricature of a bully, but a teenager who finally saw himself clearly for the first time. You didn't hurt my family, she said. You hurt me, but I'm not going to carry that forever. Jake nodded, eyes lowered. I don't expect you to forgive me. I didn't say I did, Anna said softly, but I'm choosing not to hate you. Jake let out a breath, almost a laugh but not quite. That's a broken bar more than I deserve. He turned to leave but paused at the door. For what it's worth, a broken bar your speech? The day this all happened? He shook his head, a sad smile tugging at his lip. It was the first time anyone ever talked to me like that. Like I wasn't invincible. Like I wasn't a king. And I think I needed that. Then he was gone. Anna sat down, heart pounding, and not in fear, but in the strange, unexpected weight of understanding. The assembly arrived sooner than anyone was ready for. Students spilled into the auditorium, buzzing with anticipation. Posters designed by the club decorated the hallway walls. A slideshow of cultural traditions from around the world played on the big screen. Teachers stood along the edges, suspiciously proud. Anna stood backstage with Sarah and the club, clutching a stack of note cards she had rewritten 5 times. You're gonna be amazing, Sarah whispered. Anna didn't feel amazing. She felt like her legs were made of stone. But when she stepped onto the stage, the auditorium erupted into applause. Not scattered, not hesitant, full, warm, supportive. She didn't need the note cards. She spoke from the heart about belonging, about fear, about what happens when you find the courage to stop shrinking yourself to survive. She spoke about standing up for others, about kindness, about change. And when she finished, the entire school stood, a standing ovation. Afterward, as the crowd poured out into the hallway, Mr. Davidson leaned against the edge of the stage beside her. You changed something here, he said. Anna shook her head. We changed it. No, he said with a smile. You lit the match. The rest of us just followed the light. She didn't know what to say to that, so she just smiled. That night, as she walked to the parking lot with Sarah, a voice called out behind her, "Anna." She turned. Jake stood by the bike racks, hands tucked into his sweatshirt pockets. He didn't look ashamed this time, just quiet. "That assembly," he said. "A broken bar meant something more than you know." She nodded. "I'm glad." He hesitated. "If you ever need help with the Klugel broken bar or with anything a broken bar, I'd like to do something right, for once." Anna didn't promise friendship, she didn't offer forgiveness, but she did offer something else. "Maybe," she said, "someday." Jake smiled small, real, humbly and walked away. And that's how the story continued, and not with a dramatic ending, but with small changes, steady shifts, and unexpected transformations. Northwood High didn't become perfect overnight, but it became better, kinder, braver. One girl spoke, a classroom listened, a school changed, and that was only the beginning.